Hello, welcome to the CC4SKYPE webinar. We see a lot of people are still joining, so we will wait a few more minutes before starting. So hopefully you have 1 or 2 more minutes patience, please. Hello, all of you. Welcome to the CC4SKYPE webinar, our first webinar. Hopefully many of you have noticed that we have started new ways of communicating with our partners and customers. And one of those ways is through webinars. So today is the first one, but in the future we will host many more. And we think that today we have a very interesting topic for you all, which is Microsoft's announcement of its amalgamation with Skype for Business. And apparently you think so too, as you joined in such great numbers. So thank you very much for your interest in us. All of you are on mute. So if you want to ask a questions, please use the question box. As this webinar will be available to watch on demand later, we will try to save as much time and answer all the questions at the end of the webinar, making this webinar not any more lengthy than it already will be. If the questions you ask will all be anonymous to the other attendees, if for whatever reason we have more questions than time to answer those questions in, then we will answer these questions through email, or we'll call you or reach you in whichever way you prefer.
Okay, Willeke, we can't hear you anymore. Should I take over now?
Let's see. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, so let's do a little poll and see what Microsoft announcement did to you. Okay, we see the numbers coming in. So for most of you, it was very confusing. Well, that explains why you all are here, so that's good. So that's, I guess, is Wim's cue to take over and to tell you all as much about Teams and Microsoft and the impact it has on you. So Wim is our solutions consultant. So Wim, please take over.
Okay, thank you, Willeke, for the introduction. And thank you, all the attendees, for joining our webinar and taking the time to listen to what we have to say about Microsoft Teams and how this will impact your Skype for Business environment and your customer contacts. So my name is Wim Heldenberg. Willeke, I think you have to mute your microphone because I can hear people talking at your side. So my name is Wim Heldenberg. I'm not really the guy on that mountain over there, but this is me. I live in Belgium. I work for as a solution consultant for CC4SKYPE, which is a Dutch company, and I will be hosting this webinar. And first of all, I would like to say a few words about the CC4SKYPE software, if I may. So really, for those attendees that are new to CC4SKYPE, really very, very short introduction, as this webinar is really about the coming of Teams and what this means in short and long term for your businesses. So CC4SKYPE is a customer contact software that natively integrates into Skype for Business. So it connects through UCMA to Skype for Business server. And as you will see on the agent screen in this slide, it is built in the same .NET framework as Skype for Business clients. So it has an intuitive experience. Of course, we are Microsoft certified, and CC4SKYPE is an omni-channel software. So next to voice, we also support email, we support web chats, and in the end of next month, so the end of February this year, we will also support social media. We have three main functions, which are we have an agent interface, we have an operator attendant interface, and we will have a supervisor interface. We are able to connect to all Skype for Business architectures. So from on-prem to split domain hybrid to online, and also federated users we can connect to CC4SKYPE. As I already said, this intuitive client, but we also have a very powerful IVR. And if you want to buy our software, we only deliver the software through partners. So we only work with partners. So if you want to be a partner of CC4SKYPE, please contact CC4SKYPE. Or if you want to learn more about software, please contact us, and we will be happy to give you some kind of demonstration and presentation online or at your premises. So this is about CC4SKYPE. So this was very brief. Topics that we will discuss. So this is our agenda. First of all, what is Teams? And what does the amalgamation of Skype for Business and Teams mean? And there are some clever guys at CC4SKYPE that know some expensive English words, and amalgamation is one of them. But amalgamation is really the action process or result of combining or uniting. So Microsoft is really uniting Skype for Business with Teams. The second thing that we are talking about a little bit later is the impact on your environment and how this also will impact your current investment in Microsoft Skype for Business. And the third thing that we are talking about is what does this all mean for your customer contact center, and what will CC4SKYPE offer in this mean? Okay, but first of all, why Microsoft Teams? Teamwork is core in Microsoft 365, and the reason is obvious. It's really the way work gets done these days. There are twice as many teams as 5 years ago. In average, we can see an increase in time spent collaborating by 50%. Companies that invest in collaboration and teamwork are 5 times more likely to be high performing. And it's not just the numbers, it's also that the nature of teamwork has shifted. So we are talking about internal and external members going beyond the firewall. We are talking about increasingly geo-distributed teams. And finally, the workforce is increasingly diverse in so many ways. So you have 5 different generations in the workforce at the same time, all of them with different expectations. This publication I found of Gartner states that Microsoft planned to sunset Skype for Business Online and merge its capabilities with Microsoft Teams. And I like the way they say that they sunset Skype for Business Online. It will have 3 effects on Office 365 deployment. Microsoft really positions Teams as a new multi-purpose activity hub for Office 365, replacing Skype for Business Online in the upcoming years. And all of this will create a different communication user experience, requiring, again, some user adoption and training. So decisions are pending. And as you can see, these top recommendations that they give is some of them. So let's say Microsoft Teams, you should pilot Teams and see the impact on your business. So you should already plan for a transition of Skype for Business to Teams. And if you need full enterprise voice, you can still use Skype for Business Server, and there will be a new version, Server 2019. So if it becomes available by the end of this year, you should maybe migrate to Server 2019 to have the improvements and to have lengthened support by the end of 2023. I also found an interesting publication of CEB Global that says that we have to take in mind that probably in 10 years from now, intelligent software and smart machines are becoming our co-workers. So artificial intelligence will take more and more part of your day-to-day life, where all routine tasks are being filled in by bots and by intelligent software and apps. So, and in my opinion, is that Microsoft Teams is a very good step in making this automation possible. The introduction of Teams is part of the revolution that is Microsoft trying to achieve. Microsoft Teams fits into the new collaborative spirit and how people work nowadays. Communication is evolving in what Microsoft calls intelligent communications. About the digitization of content, if you create any document like an email, a Word doc, or whatever, but also if you make a phone call or organize a meeting, all this particular content creates value to your enterprise. And within Teams, Microsoft builds a massive repository of content with a big value to your team and your company. There is a new bot in Teams that you probably know that will answer to your questions to access and find that repository of content. So artificial intelligence makes it more and more smart. And in the coming years, also audio calls and video and meetings will be searchable, thanks to the transcriptions that are becoming available. And if you're still looking why Microsoft, there's a couple of basics to remember. One of them is in the UC Magic Quadrant of Gartner. Microsoft Skype for Business is located with the leaders, and there are only 2. The other one is called Cisco. And of course, Microsoft is also preferred by more and more customers regarding to any other IP PBX vendor. And moreover, they own the desktop, and they have the leading online meeting capabilities. But okay, let's now continue with what actually is Microsoft Teams. So why we built Microsoft Teams? It was in response to the evolution of collaboration in the modern workspace. Microsoft Teams delivers on 4 core promises to create a digital workspace for high-performing teams. First of all, Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork with Office 365. Since the preview that became available last year in September, they have extended the text-based capabilities such as persistent chat. They have extended it with meetings, voice, and video. integrated Office 365 apps. So they bring capability to integrate PowerPoint, Word, Power BI directly into Microsoft Teams. So you never have to leave the application to get work done. And you can easily share your thoughts. You can give comments and feedback in one place for others to see. Customizable and extensible. Having this possibility to add customizable apps into Teams, this brings a huge opportunity to integrate and connect your line of business software into Teams. And if you're worrying about GDPR, security is completely built in. There are new authentication methods. There are compliance controls, and manageability is integrated into Office 365. So team members can engage in private one-to-one chats or in group conversations that are visible to the entire team. This modern conversation experience supports persistent threaded chats. They can include emojis, memes, and other fun graphics into their messages. And this new exciting meeting solution in Teams supports sharing, video, and audio conferencing. Before a meeting, team members can share and review information and conversation history on the subject matter. During a meeting, team members can share their desktop, they can add meeting attachments or a PowerPoint deck. The meeting can take place in either audio conferencing or video, and the meeting can be recorded. So after a meeting, team members can review these recorded meetings and they can view previous meeting details and conversation history. So they will always have all the complete context. And recently, Microsoft also announced that Microsoft Teams supports calling plans. So PSTN calling is available for Microsoft Teams. So you will be able to make to be reachable for the outside world. So for all the countries where PSTN calling is available for Skype for Business Online today, also calling plans are available for Teams. And another nice thing is that Teams are really made to be platform independent. So it's a software that runs on mobile, desktop, and browser, and it can be integrated with communication and meeting room devices. And moreover, Microsoft has promised that all the devices that are used to use in your Skype for Business environment, so I'm talking about headsets, I'm talking about telephone sets, or your Polycom VVX, or your AudioCodes HD telephone sets. I'm talking about video conference devices. So Microsoft promised that all those devices you use in Skype for Business today, you can reuse into Microsoft Teams. So, and as I said before, Teams is completely integrated in Office 365 and all of its apps. So Office apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, such as shown here. Documents are stored in hidden folders in SharePoint and OneDrive for Business. You can integrate Power BI, and there's also a new planner tool, so you don't have to use Doodle anymore to find free time that fits everybody. And Teams is integrated with Outlook email and calendar. So what does this amalgamation of Teams and Skype for Business mean? First of all, Microsoft has 3 products now that are powered by Skype, as they call it. So, of course, you have Skype for Business Server and Skype for Business Online. Skype for Business Server for those full set of enterprise value features that you will need. And also, you will need Skype for Business Server if you want to connect with applications like CC4SKYPE Contact Center. You'll have Skype for Business Online with some limited functionalities, but a faster time to value and lower total cost of ownership. And then, of course, Microsoft introduced Microsoft Teams as this intelligent communication software, this hub for teamwork, with this new artificial intelligence based on Microsoft Graphs. You can use bots, etc., into your conversation. So, but the 3 of them, they all do the same thing. Generally, they do the same stuff. Like all 3 of them do instant messaging and presence. They will have voice and video capabilities. You can organize meetings. You can do conferencing. You can share your desktop. So you really have to make some kind of choice. So this Skype to Teams experience journey, as Microsoft calls it, where Teams is introduced in September 2017 as this new client. And at Ignite in October, Microsoft also said that Microsoft Teams will completely replace Skype for Business Online in the upcoming year. So, and with that, they promised that Teams will have the same meeting and calling capabilities as Skype for Business Online has today. And they will have it by the end of calendar year 2018. So, but generally, Skype for Business Online will sunset and will be replaced by Microsoft Teams by the end of this year. Well, will be replaced is maybe not a good word. So Skype for Business Online will still exist by the end of this year, but Microsoft Teams will have those same capabilities as Skype for Business Online has today. So how will this impact your current investment in Microsoft Skype for Business? I think this is a very important slide. And you should remember that with the coming of Microsoft Teams, that Skype for Business Server, Skype for Business Online, and Microsoft Teams, they can and they will coexist for the next coming years. So if you understand well, you don't have to hurry and switch over to Microsoft Teams. These products will coexist during the next upcoming years. Moreover, there will be a new Skype for Business Server 2019. And in fact, the whole backend of Office will be refreshed. So it will be done in Office 365, but also on-prem. This means that essentially, if you upgrade, you will have a new cycle of 5 years of mainstream support, plus 5 years of extended support. However, this is more than a support issue. There are going to be changes. The thing that will change the most is the way how we will be able to administer the system from the cloud. And it will also change because you will have some cloud value also into your on-premise system. And I will get to that in the next slide. So if you are willing to upgrade to the right version of Windows and SQL, so this will be Windows Server 2016 and SQL Server 2016. So if you do those upgrades, you will be able to move to Office 2019 and also to Skype for Business Server 2019. And with that, you will be able to do cloud diagnostics of your user on-prem or in the cloud. This will also be available for users that work with Skype for Business on-premise or online, or with users that work with Microsoft Teams. So what I'm trying to say is, and I repeat, that Microsoft is doing everything in their capability to support the coexistence of Skype for Business and Teams in the next coming years. So if you have Microsoft Skype for Business in place, or if you are planning to start with Skype for Business in the near future, your investments will be protected by this new strategy of Microsoft. And while we were already used to have the possibility to have Skype for Business users on-prem, Skype for Business users in the cloud, and you can have the mixture of both, we will now have some kind of advanced interoperability that your on-premise users will be able to benefit from certain new voice features. For example, voice features that are used to be only available in the cloud. So if Microsoft invents some new cloud features, then you will be able to, thanks to this new hybrid deployment, to use those features also for your on-premise users. So, and this will simplify your life if you are an IT admin. So if you start thinking about which client or product you should choose for your users, remember that you are the one that can make that kind of a decision. You will need to decide which users fit into the best of capabilities that Microsoft offers within the different clients. So you could have a mixture of Skype for Business Online, and Teams clients in your organization. And the cloud value to those users that can benefit from it, you can benefit from it at your own pace. So what are the potential paths for you moving forward? And this is just an example. Let's say that the starting point is that you use Skype for Business only, and you use it for chat, you use it for meetings, you use it for enterprise voice, and hopefully you also have some operators and contact center agents running on CC4Skype. So this light blue is all what you use in Skype for Business. A potential first step could be that you install Microsoft Teams and you use it for collaboration and for chat. So these new collaboration functionalities, working with channels, sharing documents, having persistent chats, so you could use it side by side with your existing Skype for Business environments. So you can still use enterprise voice in Skype for Business. You can still use CC4Skype into Skype for Business. You can still do meetings and have chat in Skype for Business. But next to that, side by side in a separate interface, you could start using Teams and play with functionalities and using chat and the collaboration functions that they offer. The next possible step is that you add the meeting capability into Teams. And why the meeting capability? Because I think it's really a very nice thing in Teams that you can organize and plan meetings, but most of all that you can record meetings and that you keep the context of your meeting with the voice chat and the documents that belong to those meetings together. So the next possible step could be that you add meetings to Teams. And you could have both. You could do meetings in Skype for Business. You could do meetings in Teams. But you can also say, okay, I will skip meetings in Skype for Business and only do meetings into Teams. And then finally, the last step could be that you completely switch over to Teams, and you will do that once you are ready, and once Microsoft is ready, and once CC4Skype is ready, because of course we still have to do some work, and Microsoft still has to do some work to be able to connect CC4Skype into Teams, and Microsoft generally has to do some work to have additional calling capabilities into Teams before you switch over from Microsoft Skype for Business to Teams. So this is a possible migration path, and really this is just an example, and probably you would first check on the different user profiles, and depending of the user profiles that you have, and Microsoft has positioned 8 canonical usage profiles here. So it's going from collaboration profile to field, contact center, etc. So really, depending of the user profile, you will be able to make that decision. So some of them will use Skype for Business. Some of them will use Skype for Business and Teams on the same desktop. Maybe some of them will have contact center functionalities, will have to need contact center functionalities, and they will use Skype for Business and CC4Skype. And maybe you will be able to add, they use Teams on the side for their Teams functionalities, but maybe some information workers only use Teams. And maybe in the future, in the near future, if CC4Skype and Microsoft is ready, we can integrate CC4Skype into Teams. So this is an example of using both clients side by side. So this is my desktop, and on the left-hand side, you see Skype for Business running, and in this same .NET framework, you will see the CC4Skype client. And internally, we also use Teams for their functionality. So we are starting to play with it and using it internally and having chats through it. So this is just an example of how they run side by side. Of course, if you run side by side Microsoft Teams with Skype for Business, you have to take care about the Teams interop. And there's a website that Microsoft, it's called www.aka.ms/Teams interop. So if you go there, it will list all the the functionalities that we have today and that you don't have today. So, and it will list the different combinations. For example, if you call from Skype for Business to Teams or the other way around, sometimes you will maybe have some functionality, some Teams features that will not be available, like I'm showing you in the screenshots. And there are some functionalities there that are not supported yet. And the basic one is that presence information of Teams will not be sent to Skype for Business users and the other way. So if you set your availability into Teams, it will not be sent to the Skype for Business users. So if you use both clients, then there is no interop between it. So, but this is coming. So the Microsoft has a clear roadmap, which is available online too, where those kinds of features are listed, and where you can see, okay, when will it happen? And up till then, if you use both clients on the same desktop, you as a user or you as an IT admin will be able to choose, and that's the other screenshot you see there below, your preferred calling application. So if there is an incoming call, you will be able to choose, okay, I'm using Microsoft Teams or I'm still using Skype for Business. So they will give you some flexibility into the system that users can decide, or maybe IT admins will decide when Teams will be opened for calling and for enterprise voice. So it's up to you to decide if you use both clients side by side, which client is used for what. Okay, what does this mean for your customer contact center needs today? So this slide is showing you that the preference for digital interaction is on the rise. So these youngsters, these millennials, they sure have a favor for digital over the telephone, but it doesn't mean that the telephone is gone. So cost-effective voice interactions are still essential. So, and before customers decide to switch over to Skype Business or now switch over to Teams, they first want to know, okay, what about our attendant console? What about our contact center? What about call recording, etc.? So voice is still really essential into the contact center business, into your system. And we do have to do some work. So one of the things that should be done, and this is part one, so before the contact center application can be integrated into Teams, first of all, the client interface has to migrate from Skype for Business to Teams. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the current integration into Skype for Business and Skype for Business Online, where we have our CC4SKYPE client in the same .NET framework as Skype for Business, so which is very easy and very intuitive for the user. In the same way, we are now working, as I speak, talking with Microsoft and with our development department to have this same kind of integration into Teams. So there's a small screenshot on the right-hand side, but I will show you some examples. In fact, there are different ways of developing applications and tabs, and you can develop bots, and you can have connectors, you could have messaging extensions, you could have activity feed integrations, you could have outgoing webhooks. But this is an example of an application scope, and this is an example of CC4SKYPE as an application, as a personal scope that we can add on the sidebar on the left-hand side as an icon. And if you click that icon, then you will be able to see, let me click, and this is the first example, and this is a scoop for everybody. Of course, this is, I have to admit, this is PowerPoint. This is, we've made this slide, this doesn't exist yet, but we are working on it to have the CC4SKYPE client integrated into Teams in the same way as we have today in Skype for Business. So, and this is an agent interface, so this is the first example. Second example is a supervisor interface, where below you will be able to manage a team and join and unjoin people into a queue. And the last example is where we have Dynamics integration. So a call comes in and Dynamics pops up and shows you the customer contact page. So these are three examples of screens how CC4Skype could look like into Microsoft Teams. So we are working on it, and more information will follow in the next coming months. Part 2. So the second thing that has to be done, but for this we have to wait for Microsoft, because we need some kind of UCMA kind of application interface to be able to connect to Teams. So as you know, Skype for Business connects with CC4Skype server with UCMA, and UCMA is the Unified Communications Managed API that Microsoft has developed, and which is full featured, so we can provide all features of CC4Skype for those users that are in any way connected to that Skype for Business server. If there are Skype for Business users that are on-prem, or Skype for Business users online, or even federated users, thanks to this UCMA connection, we can have CC4Skype functionality to those users. And of course, you had Office 365 Skype for Business Online, and Microsoft started to develop this trusted API. But however, with the coming of Teams, Microsoft has stopped this development. So this trusted API is no longer available, unfortunately, because a lot of customers are really waiting for this. But we have some workarounds with CC4Skype. So please contact us if you need more information about that. But okay, this Office 365 trusted API is no longer developed because of the coming of Teams. And with Teams, we will expect that this Teams API is on the roadmap, but you won't find it on the Microsoft Teams roadmap that's published. But Microsoft they are working on a new set of developer capabilities for Microsoft Teams, and it doesn't have a published name yet, but it has already been referred to as the programmable voice and video platform. So think of some of the things you can do today with UCMA around controlling the flow of video and voice, things like handling calls and meeting flows, other enterprise scenarios such as IVRs, call recording, call routing. So right now, there is no support for any manipulation of voice or video in Microsoft Teams. And this programmable voice and video platform will address that and bringing these workloads to developers. So also adding intelligence and greater capabilities in those interactions as UCMA does today. So next to call control, media, network, so you could have with this Teams API connect to Skype for Business Online and to Teams at the same time. But you will also have some cognitive services. So handling with this new artificial intelligence software. So you could do things like transcription and translation. And all of this is based on Graph API. And this was a big team on Microsoft Ignite last year. So this graph, this Microsoft Graph, is becoming a primary source for interaction for developers in Office 365. So, and all of the capabilities that I'm talking about with Microsoft Teams will be brought to you by Microsoft Graph. And I've put the links below, so we will share this presentation. You can look it up. And if you want more information, there's also a blog about the development of this programmable voice and video platform, so you can look it up later. Okay, so let me show you, and these are really the last slides. So two kinds of architecture. So this is a hybrid architecture called split domain, where we have Skype for Business Server, and we also have Skype for Business Online and Microsoft Teams. And as you know, we connect through UCMA with Skype for Business Server, and we can have CC4Skype functionalities for those Skype for Business users that are located on-prem, but also to those Skype for Business users that are located online. Of course, those team users, we will not be able to connect to them yet. We have to wait for this new Teams API to arrive. But nevertheless, you could use Teams side by side with your Skype for Business Online or with your Skype for Business interface in the cloud. And yesterday, I don't know if you followed it, it was a webinar of audio codes, and I asked to have the presentation, and it shows this. So this is actually the same slides in another way. So there you have in the survival branch, there you have an SBC gateway to connect to Skype for Business server. So Cloudbound 365. So, and CC4SKYPE is a partner of AudioCode. So what we can offer with Cloudbound 365 is, as you know, this Cloudbound 365 really is Skype for Business server. It's Edge. It's a reverse proxy, but there's a virtual machine left, and we can connect, we can add our CC4SKYPE software on that fourth virtual machine, and we are certified for this solution for Cloudbound 365 of audio codes. So, but let's say that you use Cloudbound 365, or you have an environment where you have a mixture of Skype for Business server and Skype for Business Online. You will have the capability to pair, and this really is the future, because today this is not possible. Teams does not support hybrid voice today. So, or bring your own trunk. So you cannot use a local PSTN gateway and connect Microsoft Teams to this gateway today. This is not possible. So, and this Cloud Connector edition that Microsoft's Skype for Business Online has, to be able to connect your local PSTN connection and gateway to your online environment, this does not exist in Teams. So, and also there will not be any connector. So, because it's called Direct Connect. So, and this is really also in development right now. So Microsoft Teams will be able to connect to a gateway. And this is really a future view where you could pair your new SBC with Microsoft Teams. And you would be able to create a route towards Teams in this SBC routing table. And by doing so, you can leverage AudioCode's dynamic routing decision capability, and you can migrate your users between Skype for Business Server, Skype for Business Online, and Microsoft Teams in the future. So thanks to this user management pack. So this is the way that AudioCodes predicts that we will be able to migrate the three different kinds of platforms, Skype for Business Server, Online, and Teams. So, and this was my last slide, so let me get to a conclusion. First of all, very important to understand is that these products will and they can coexist. So we will still have Skype for Business Server, Skype for Business Online, and Microsoft Teams working together for the upcoming years, for the next upcoming years, and I'm really saying years. So, as I said, Skype for Business Server 2019 for at least 5 more years. Skype for Business Online will sunset, but okay, it will still exist in the next 2 or 3 years. And Microsoft Teams, of course, will replace Skype for Business Online in the upcoming years, but it will be you as a customer that will decide when and why to switch between the different clients. So, and you don't really have to do a big switch. You will always be in control. We advise you to start piloting Microsoft Teams to be able to use the software and to see how it fits into some parts of your organization. And so, but you also have to plan strategically for Microsoft Teams to evolve as the primary user experience. And you could keep leveraging Skype for Business Server for enterprise voice as long as needed, for example, for your contact center users and operators. So, and the last thing I want to conclude is watch out for the new CC4SKYPE Teams client, because it is coming and it will be very exciting. So, and with this, I would like to thank you for your attention. and maybe we can switch over to the questions.
Thank you, Wim, for this nice presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you. If you have any questions, you can use the question box now. We had a few questions, but we have answered those. So if there are any more questions, feel free to put them in the question box.
I see a question about survival branch appliance and SBC. Will they be supported with Teams or Skype for Business 2019 as well? So I'm sure with Skype for Business 2019, so this survival branch appliance and SBCs. But as I said, we will have to wait for this direct connect feature in Microsoft Teams before we can use those SBCs and connect our own trunk. So bring your own trunk and connect it to Teams. So this is really ongoing, and we have to wait for Microsoft. Are there any more questions? So, Willeke, I think we can conclude this session.
Oh, I see a question coming in. Is there a future version of Skype for Business in the cloud, Azure?
CC4SKYPE in the cloud.
Yeah.
So CC4SKYPE connects to Skype for Business Online. I think that you mean. I have to say that this trusted API that became available last year, it was February last year, and we did some tests in Canada with this trusted API, and we were able to connect to Skype for Business Online, but Microsoft completely stopped this new development, and so there's no way of connecting Skype for Business Online directly to CC4SKYPE anymore, or to any contact center application that was able to connect through this trusted API. So no, the question is no. We really have to wait for Teams, and customers that only use Skype for Business Online really have to switch over to Teams by the end of this year, and I hope by then this new API for Teams will be available, and CC4SKYPE will be ready to connect to Teams.
Okay, I see no more questions coming in. If you have any other questions that come to mind later on, so you feel free to contact us, and of course we'll answer you promptly. So for now, we will conclude this webinar. We will make it available online, and we will keep you posted and invite you for the next webinar that we will organize very soon. So thank you all for attending. Again, Wim, thank you for presenting, and have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for attending.